Hey guys, Johnny English here. It's been quite a while since I've made a video, and I felt compelled today to sort of give a life update and talk about a couple of things that are important to me. Um, Let me begin by saying I'm very sorry to everyone for the more or less complete absence of content in the last probably 5 years. I think that's been a combination of real life events and some mental health troubles, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit here. I think part of it too, with the channel being so focused on Battlefield Heroes and Battlefield Heroes no longer being a thing, I think that I didn't really know where to go channel-wise, because I love making content and I love interacting with all of you, but it's very difficult to do that and try and strike out and do that with a new game. So I think in the absence of a clear direction, I sort of just stopped creating content, and I've kind of missed doing it ever since. So that's part one of my shtick, if you will. Part two. So I've gone through quite a lot in the last 5 years. I've changed jobs now. This will be the third time. When the pandemic hit, I had quit my job for mental health reasons about one month or so before the major lockdowns began, and I was out of work for about 6 months or so, which was not great. As a story I'm sure many of you can relate to, with the pandemic hitting, I sent out several hundred job applications in the space of a month. I didn't get much traction on any of them, and that did not help mental health. It was really kind of a terrible 1-2 punch, because I had left a job that was me working 80-hour weeks in a really toxic environment, and I had quit it, and I felt good about quitting it, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, oh, well, perhaps I should have stuck it out a little bit longer then, because not having employment for that long was not great, and I couldn't get unemployment because I had left the job on my own, of my own volition. So there's that. And I'm not, also, as an aside, I'm not saying any of this in order to garner sympathy. My situation is by no means unique. There are plenty of people who have had to suffer through far worse things during this pandemic, and while I've known a number of people who have passed away from the pandemic, I know that there are plenty of people who have lost far more. So I'm trying to keep that in perspective. Speaking further, and I won't go into too much detail because nobody really likes an oversharer, but my mental health struggles have gone back a pretty far. At the very least, it's been probably 15 years of depression, and to a lesser degree anxiety, and most recently an eating disorder. I was diagnosed with anorexia, within the past couple of years, and it made sense, and it's just been a real struggle trying to kind of get my life on track again. I've made a lot of changes to my diet, to what I do every day, and in making those changes, that also meant that I was playing video games probably less often than I used to, which, let's be real, that's probably a good thing, because I used to play them all the time. And now I'm on a pretty high tier of antidepressants and medication to kind of help me manage that. So kind of all these factors together. Oh, and I did forget one other thing. In January of 2019, so within the first week, actually, I think it was like the 6th of January 2019, I ended up in the hospital because of a heart problem. which was terrifying. It completely threw off my rhythm for pretty much all of 2019 and really affected what I was able to do. And that did not help. Didn't help my body, and it didn't help my mind. So, and I'm saying all of this to just kind of give some context and an explanation as to why there's been such a scarcity of content. And I just wanted to say, it's not because I don't want to, it's just because some days you beat the monster and some days the monster chases you. And there's really, all I can say is tomorrow I'll do better. And for the most part, tomorrow I have done better. So I would like to say that this is the start of me getting into a habit of creating content again. And to some degree it will be, or it is. I am currently, and this will probably only appeal to some of you, so take that as you will. I'm currently in one of the key founding members of a podcast, which will be coming out in June. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, this will be the thing for you. It is a film noir styled Dungeons and Dragons campaign created and DM'd by me, because that is a thing that I do now. So if that's the sort of thing that you like, I will drop some information in the description, and I hope that you enjoy that. So that's one thing to look forward to. But really, I just wanted to say that I've missed all of you quite a bit. I missed the game. I know that they're Revive Heroes. I think that's what it's called. Or Revival Heroes. I've tried the new version of Battlefield Heroes, and I'm sorry to say it's not the same. And I mean that the game itself is exactly the same, but there is almost, I don't want to say a non-existent player base. There's a very limited player base. The few times that I've tried to get on and play, I've played in servers with maybe 7 or 8 people tops, four per team, and it doesn't quite capture the magic that made Battlefield Heroes so good. And that's not anybody's fault. I don't think that anybody can capture that little slice of lightning that was Battlefield Heroes. But there's also not really a good substitute, and that's frustrating. But not even, actually, it's not even frustrating. It's just bittersweet, because we all remember a game that we used to love. So, and this is where you guys come in, because I would appreciate some input. I've been going over some old videos, and I thought that it could be interesting to either make a video sort of breaking down Battlefield Heroes just as like a little slice of life, if that makes sense. So it would be doing a summary of like, hey, how good was Battlefield Heroes really? As it turns out, quite good, because it was ahead of its time in many ways. Not to say that it didn't have some faults, or many faults, as the case may be. It's an EA game, of course it's going to have some faults. But I thought that could be fun. I thought about doing some commentary over old competitive matches, which I think could be also fun. Anyway, if there is content that you guys would like to see and that I'm able to provide, please let me know. Or if you just want to say hi, that's always good too. I love connecting, and in this case, more likely reconnecting with people. So, I hope that you guys are doing okay and doing well. I know that, the pandemic and the isolation has been pretty rough for a lot of people. And it didn't really bother me much for the first year, but now, as we get on into the second year, it bothers me. It's become more difficult. So take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, look after your mental health. It's just as important as your physical health. And I hope to talk to you all soon. So take care. All the best.